On June 26, 2008, an island was released. It's a bit radioactive, but it maintains Poptropica's unique sense of humor while hosting an unforgettable adventure and an element of surprise. What else could it be but Superpower Island? Whereas, a giant meteor has crashed into the virtual world's prison, freeing hardened criminals and giving them superpowers. Now they are wreaking havoc on the island. Only a true superhero can stop them and save the day. So this is the first Poptropica island to have more than one villain. Furthermore, each villain's name matches their superpower. Copycat is, well, self-explanatory, and so is Crusher. Ratman is too, but I think his name references Batman even though Batman is a hero. They both spend a lot of time with the animals they are named after. Meanwhile, Speeding Spike has spiked hair, Cerebral can move things with his mind, and his name purposely sounds like the word cerebral, which is a scientific term that references the brain. This took me forever to realize. Meanwhile, Betty Jetty can fly like a jet. Speaking of which, Betty Jetty, according to the Poptropica Adventures Nintendo DS game, is Ned Noodlehead's sister. That's right, her own brother basically betrayed her, but perhaps she betrayed him first, and that's why she's a villain now. Now, who is Ned Noodlehead, you ask? Aside from being the person I hated for voting me off reality TV island, Ned Noodlehead is the owner of this comic shop you have to visit. He also authored the book that tells you how to complete the island. Now, the thing about Ned Noodlehead, despite his name, actually does not love noodles, not pasta, but hot dogs. Not only does he accept a hot dog in exchange for a solid gold medallion he didn't earn, but his alter ego is Super Hot Dog Boy, who saves you from Betty Jetty, his sister, to conclude the island. Super Hot Dog Boy even has his own comic book, which was posted on Poptropica's website in a feature called the Daily Pop, which I will discuss later. Now, this gray-haired superhero at the top of the newspaper building has a bit of lore to him as well. You know that statue that Cerebral broke and used to attack you? Well, that statue is of the aforementioned superhero. His name appears to be Curtis. Curtis also tells you that with great power comes great responsibility. A famous quote from the movie Spider-Man, which also focuses on a normal citizen like your Poptropican becoming a superhero. Also, if you interact with Curtis before you complete the island, he tells you he is retired and his statue is broken, symbolizing his diminishing presence on the island and the fact that you replace him as the city's superhero. Also, Curtis's name has the word Curt in it, which means short and straightforward, which perfectly describes Curtis's attitude toward you, even after you become a superhero. Like, what does it take to get him to crack a smile or something? The common room on this island is the daily paper. It fits in with the fact that this island has an unusually large amount of newspaper kiosks that all have the same paper and seem to make a paper for every single thing. That happens even if it is fake news. I was thinking that this could reference the Daily Pop, which was a daily publication that the Poptropica creators used to release on poptropica.com. However, this is unlikely as the Daily Pop was not even announced until a few years after this island was released. I did find out that there is a newspaper building in New York City called the Daily Paper that opened in 1930, less than 10 years before some of the most famous superheroes were introduced to the public. Furthermore, New York City also has a newspaper called the New York Times, introduced to the world in the 1800s. It appears that the Superman comic parodies the Daily Paper with a newspaper called the Daily Planet. Meanwhile, it appears that Batman parodies the New York Times with a newspaper called the Gotham Times. I definitely do not think that any of this is a coincidence. I mean, a metropolitan group of journalists that can't get enough of their city hero, that's straight out of a comic book. Speak of the classic comic book references, and they shall doth appear. The costume the Poptropican wears on the comic shop billboard is very similar to Superman's iconic ensemble featuring the three primary colors of the color wheel. Similarly, this green ensemble mirrors that of the Green Lantern. Likewise, Curtis's outfit is very similar to that of the Flash. However, the Poptropica handbook says that he is supposed to be a combination of multiple superheroes, but does not specify which ones. Can you guess what they are? I have always thought of Poptropica as a living, playable comic book. In this island, along with Poptropica's long line of unique villains that started in 24 Karat Island, which was featured in my last video, specifically reinforces that theory. Furthermore, the idea of getting powers from radiation is very common in classic Marvel comics. Peter Parker became Spider-Man after being bit by a radioactive spider. Similarly, Bruce Banner became the Hulk and the Fantastic Four got their powers because of radiation. Superpower Island definitely pays tribute to this because the supervillains get their powers from radioactivity, specifically a radioactive rock, which according to the Poptropica help blog is a meteorite, but the people on the island refer to it as a meteor. The Poptropica help blog discloses that meteors are shooting stars, and since it's not in the sky on the island, it's technically a meteorite. Ha! Imagine needing a radioactive meteorite to get superpowers. All we needed was a creepy phone booth, which I also realized may reference a lesser known Marvel superhero named Phone Ranger, who got their powers from a broken telephone that transported them into a universe with alien technology. Now remember how I said this island was created on July 26th? Well, the Poptropica help blog, which I use as a source for much of the information I use, was also created on this day. I made a playthrough of Superpower Island for the occasion, linked above. With this, wait, what? What is that? Oh gosh, am I being trolled by my own video? Let's play I Spy. Okay, fine. I Spy with my Poptropican eye. Our next island! This island is called Spy Island, and I have not ever played it before, so I'm really excited. Thank you for watching!